Welcome to Promo Insiders, an ASI Media podcast that covers the topics that matter most to the promotional products industry. I'm CJ Mitica, Editor-in-Chief, and today I'm joined by three of our ASI Media editors to prove the longevity of promotional products. How? By showing off the cherished promos we've had for a long time, some maybe longer than 10 years. So I think it's be a fun podcast for us because we get to talk about the cool stuff that we've accumulated in life, the cool promo items that have longevity. And speaking of longevity, I think all the editors here have been with ASI for a while. So just by way of introduction.
Are you saying we're old, CJ? Is that what you're saying?
We're very old. We're so old that I don't know who Jack Harlow is. If you guys saw that clip yesterday, that viral clip yesterday, where these NBA refs were asking who's this like rapper who's climbing the charts. No idea who that is. So yes, we're all very, very old. And so by way of introduction, I want to have each of you tell us your name, what you do at ASI and what you specialize in, and then most importantly, how long you've been with ASI. And we'll go Sarah, Chris, Teresa.
Okay, so I'm Sarah Lavendusky. I am Executive Editor of Digital Content, and I specialize in, my beats are sales and marketing, trends, health and wellness, the Canadians, all of Canada. So those are my beats, and I have been with ASI for 8 years.
Chris?
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I already messed up the puff give rotation that we were supposed to have there. All right. Yeah, Chris Rouveau, I'm Digital News Director here at ASI. I've been with the company for 11 years. I focus on a lot of our news coverage, which involves how the promotional products and how larger events in business in the world intersect with the promotional products industry. So that's a lot of what I do. Long walks on the beach, all that kind of stuff. That's great, good stuff. Over to you, Teresa.
I know. How long have you been at ASI? You didn't answer that.
I did 11 years. I said 11.
Oh, I guess I wasn't listening. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I'm used to being tuned out by women, so that's fine.
All right. Sorry. I'm Teresa Hagel. I'm also an executive editor of digital content like Sarah. I mostly write about apparel, technology, and I just launched the Promo for the Planet page. So writing a lot about sustainability issues. So that's really exciting. And I have been with ASI for 8 years.
So earlier today, Teresa, somebody floated the Green Queen, I think, title, or it was a Queen of Green. Either way, I think that's good. I think we should add that to your.
I like it. I'll take it.
Awesome. So yes,
Empress of the environment.
Empress of the. That's
something like that.
So yeah, as I mentioned, we're talking about the old stuff that we have, but don't leave, please don't leave. I promise this is going to be interesting. Actually, it's going to be a fruitful conversation, and here's why. For those of us who've been in the promotional products industry, and we've all been in for a while now, we know about the perceptions of promotional products, the trinkets and trash, the cheap plastic stuff that gets thrown away. Those perceptions are very prevalent, but we know that's not true. We know about all the great products that are made in this industry and how long people hold on to those products for. And we actually have data that backs that up. So when we do the ad impression study pretty much every year, one of the things we measure often is how long those products are kept. So on a category basis, whether that's t-shirts or bags or power banks, even umbrellas, we know that those products are kept for, on average, anywhere from 10, 11, 12, 13 months. Promo outerwear has the most longevity because it's kept for 16 months on average. So that's on a category basis. But we also asked our survey takers for the ad impression study the longest that they've kept an item. And we know that 40% of consumers keep promotional products for more than 10 years. And that's a long time. And so it's great to see sort of that promotional products becoming parts of people's lives, that they keep it around for that long. And that's incredible value and brand impressions, because we know that consumers recall the advertiser and promotional product, and it just becomes, like I said, it's a part of their everyday life in so many different ways. Now, it's one thing for us to sort of talk about that and talk about in theory or cite some numbers, but it's a great way to show some actual case studies, some actual examples of that in action. And so that's why we're here today. So I asked each of our editors to round up 3 promotional products that they've had for a while. 10 plus years was the goal, but not everyone's gonna hit that mark, but we wanted to show cool products that we've had for a while. And that's the goal that we want you to take away from this, is that promotional products are not just something that people just throw away. They use them, and here are some great examples why. So we're going to bounce around the room. Everybody's going to talk about a product, and you're going to talk about what it is, what it means to them, where they got it, why they kept it, and any memories maybe associated with it. Because when you're talking about 10 plus years, there are defined memories that people have with these products. So Sarah, we'll start with you.
Sure, yeah. So my first one is from 2009, I want to say. So this is a shirt from where I went to school, Immaculata University, and I got it at the bookstore. And they used to have all kinds of different apparel that they'd bring through, like every quarter. It'd be like a whole new like slew of sweatshirts and t-shirts, long sleeve, short sleeve. They'd have performance, they'd have quarter zip, they'd have all kinds of stuff. But all my friends and I would get like, we'd pick like one thing and all get the same thing. Usually it was like a t-shirt. And so it's got the name on the arm too, which I really like. And it just brings back a lot of really good memories of college, and it's in really good shape. Like it's well loved. It's really soft, but the screen print is generally in pretty good shape, even though it's been washed a million times. And it just brings back a lot of good memories of just like hanging with friends and like the, fancy free days of college where, adult issues weren't really present yet. And it's just a fun sweatshirt or t-shirt. I still wear it a lot. But yeah, it's simple, but it states the school, and I'm still repping my school, all these years later, 13 years later. So that's my first thing.
I have a college thing as well, and I'll talk about it in a second, but who here has like lots of college stuff still in their wardrobe or in their house? For sure. I'm raising my hand, listeners, if you can't tell. College stuff is it's like there's such great memories from this, and I'll talk about my item since it's a natural segue. So I gotta stand up a little bit to show this, but it's my Kenyan College Intramural Championship T-shirt. Senior year, we're Kenyan College is a small school, liberal arts school in Ohio. We were about 1,600 kids total, so that's like a rounding error for places like Penn State and University of Texas. Place like that. But they have an intramural program, specifically football, and it was me and a bunch of my friends, some who played on the soccer team, but others just guys who didn't play sports, and it was a very competitive. We definitely like played hard and won to win, and I remember. The championship game, it was supposed to be us against the betas, and those are like that was like the jock frat on campus. Those were all the football players, right? So like that was the championship game. It was like a early Sunday morning in early December. We wake up early. We run out to the field early, get warmed up. We're all excited to go. The betas never showed up. They were too hungover.
That had such a setup of like a 1980s high school / college movie, like I could almost hear the soundtrack in the background,
Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, until the point where they did show up, but it's still all good.
Yeah, so we won the championship by default. A title is still a title, right? No matter how you get it. And so like what we got these t-shirts, and did I wear that shirt like once a week for the rest of the college year? Kinda. It was just because I didn't want to do laundry. We actually took pride in winning that, and so whenever I get together with my college buddies, I always pretty much end up wearing one of my like college T-shirts just because of all the memories that they provide. So, and by the way, to date myself, 2004 is when this shirt is from. Still holding up well, actually.
Yeah, that is impressive. That longevity.
I think it's really like I just real quick. I think it's very interesting that like you know, it's such an opportunity to target colleges because like you're saying, like I still have all my sweatshirts. Like I don't get rid of my sweatshirts. I still have my sweatshirt blanket, like from my dorm room. But the other thing was that like every quarter they would get like all new apparel. So then you'd like get another sweatshirt and you don't ever get rid of them. And that you're well loved. And it's, you know, it's a great way to get your school promoted is by those, just a simple sweatshirt. It just brings back a lot of memories.
I'm kind of surprised, maybe other schools do this more, but like there's not more sort of alumni sending out of like apparel and other things. Yes, I could buy stuff from the bookstore, like, and I have done that when I've been back to my school's campus.
Yeah.
But I still wear like my Kenyan stuff all the time. And I feel like for alumni, it's easy to send them something as like a thank you for a donation, right? And it's something they're going to wear. And maybe other schools are better about that. But that's another just great opportunity to continue that connection for decades after those students have graduated.
Absolutely.
So, all right, who do you want to go to next, Teresa or Chris?
I'll go.
All right.
Mine is it's just like a little pad folio. Well, I think I have some notes in there, but this was from, I believe I got this in like the mid 2000s at a journalism conference. It was so I used to do like a teen section for the newspaper where we would have like, it was called Unscripted, I believe. And the first year, do you remember it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Teresa and I used to work together at a newspaper.
Yeah, back in the old days.
Yeah.
Anyways, we started this teen section called Unscripted, and myself and another editor, we were sent to St. Louis for like, it was the annual conference for people that do teen sections, which is apparently a thing. And I remember they were giving away, there were various like vendors and stuff there, and they were giving away some promo products. So I've had this for a while, but it does always make me think of that teen section and why you should never start a story with "in today's modern society," blah blah blah. That's what the teens like to do. It was always the most general, like broad thing.
And Teresa, why did you keep it?
I honestly don't know. I don't like to throw things away. I think that's why. But it is. I actually don't even use it. My husband uses it. He stole it from me, so he finds value in this nice pad folio. I just don't throw things away. So, but it is useful. It's definitely useful, just not by me. But that's the other thing I think we mentioned in our research is that people will often pass things along. If they don't want it, they'll give it to someone else who will use it. So I didn't use it, but my husband does.
Mm-hmm. So that's like two of the big themes, like we're already seeing from this discussion, are, sometimes we save things for sentimental reasons, similar to what CJ and Sarah kind of detailed. And then other times it's not necessarily there's a sentimental thing at all. It's just that, hey, this is useful. and that usefulness and the fact that it's durably made gives it longevity. I'm going to keep using it because it's useful.
Right. Not every product has a sentimental value. It's like, oh, I went shopping today and somebody gave me a pen when I went to sign a check, right? Like that doesn't have sentimental value, but from a functional standpoint, yeah, that's a huge selling point.
So mine, I'll jump in, has both functional appeal and sentimental value, and I hope you guys can see it. It's a beer mug. So.
Shad Fest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, little bit of context to this. Sarah and I live in the same area. It's a touristy area along the Delaware River that has a couple cutesy towns. One is called Lambertville, New Jersey. The other is New Hope, Pennsylvania. They're right across from each other. If you've never been there and you have no idea what they're like, picture a couple of European villages almost, right, Sarah? Like plunked down right along the Delaware River. So they have a very pretty old world appeal. And each year they have a festival called the Shad Festival. And it's basically just an excuse to get a lot of people to come to town. They have vendors and artists line the couple of the main streets and things of that nature, excuse me. And people from New York City and Philadelphia, which both aren't too far away, come up for it. And it packs these little tourist towns, and it's a lot of fun. And there used to be a brewery located right in the town of Lambertville, and it was called River Horse Brewery. And we'd always start our Shad Festival experience, I say we, my wife and I, at the brewery. And it has since moved out of town to a bigger, larger location. But I got this mug there in 2007. It says Shadfest 2007, River Horse Brewery, Lambertville, New Jersey. And the reason that I've always kept this one, and it's especially sentimental for me, is because this was the last summer that it was just my wife and myself before we started having ultimately 3 boys. So it was the last so it was the last time that we were able to have like adult fun and just kind of enjoy each other without other consideration. So every time I look at this, I remember not only the fun of going to Shadfest and but just that last time of like relative carefreeness as adults. So that's and of course it continues to put beer into my mouth, which is just it serves that practical function as well.
Yeah, it's even more necessary now after kids, right, Chris?
Much more so, CJ, as you well know yourself.
Yeah, I forget if I wrote this somewhere, but like, at least before COVID, it was always before kids, after kids. Now life is before COVID, after COVID. But
Yeah.
That's awesome. Actually, it reminds me, because as I was looking through my house for products to feature, you showing that glass reminded me of a good one I didn't grab, which is that when my wife went to Munich, and this is like 2010, I think. She brought me back one of those like beer steins, like, when you see the movies and like the froth is overflowing, and like I use that all the time.
Yeah.
So, it has like the Munich Oktoberfest like branding on it. So
yeah.
My point is, beer plus promotional products are a winning combo, right, Chris?
Very few are going to argue against that, CJ.
All right, good. I love it. All right, Sarah, what's your second product?
So I have something a little smaller. So this is a bookmark, and it's from a place called Herb Tandry Philosophy Books. And they're actually in Britain, where Chris just was. They're in Stroud, Gloucestershire, UK. And it's this like used philosophy bookstore in Gloucestershire. And I got it because I've never been to Britain, but what I used to do when I was in college, when I wanted to buy books, I would go on Amazon used, and you can get them for like $1. And what I would do is I would actually, because I'm a dork, I would write in the book where it came from. They would come from all over the world sometimes. They've come from France, they've come from Britain, they've come from across the United States too, but sometimes they would actually put a bookmark into the book. So admittedly, I can't remember which book this came from, but this is probably from like 2007, I want to say. But it's really stood up. Like, I've used it a lot, and it's in good shape. It's a nice card stock. It's got all of their can't really read it from here, but it's got their locations, their contact information. So I think it's a very simple product, but I've kept it all these years later, especially since it's high quality. It'll last as you keep reading, it keeps lasting through all the books. And yeah, it brings back a lot of memories of like finding, cool finds on Amazon and good prices, and then getting books from all over the world. So yeah.
I think bookmarks are, of course, like the go-to thing for any kind of independent bookstores. So whenever I go on vacation, I like to go to find like the independent bookstore, and whenever you buy a book, they always stick their little bookmark in. So I mean, it makes perfect sense for a bookstore. So why wouldn't you do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, low cost, and if they're good quality, they have longevity.
Yeah, I have a confession. I don't use bookmarks ever. Like, am I the only person who like doesn't use them?
I used to not, but then I've reformed.
Dare I ask what you use instead, CJ?
Sandwiches.
My memory.
My memory.
Oh, that's just a flex. Come on.
Yeah.
No,
my daughter likes to use like things that are like this thick. Like she'll just, it's upsetting. I'm like, you have like a million bookmarks, put a bookmark in it. But she just likes to annoy me. So she'll just put like her phone in the book or something like ridiculous. I'm like, that's not, it's not cool.
I can sympathize, Teresa, maybe because I'm the bad example, but my kids were both big readers. They don't want to use bookmarks. All they do is take the book and like put it flat on the ground, and it'll be there for like 2 months, and the spine is like completely warped. I'm like, you just ruined your book. Use a bookmark. But again, who am I to say? I shouldn't be casting stones.
No comment.
I never really thought about it. I guess I'm an inconsistent bookmark user, but now I want to up my usage of it because it serves a real practical value.
Well, the secondary purpose was to increase the bookmark sales in this industry. So you're welcome, bookmark manufacturer. to send the commissions our way. Teresa, go ahead. What's your second product?
Okay, I actually did a last minute change. So I have this. It is my little Eiffel Tower guy that I got when I was in Paris many years ago, sometime in the 90s. I can't remember exactly what year, but it definitely meets the more than 10 years criteria. But I went on like one of those EF tours, like educational trips, and it was noteworthy because I was with this other girl and we got lost for 6 hours trying to find our hotel. Just like we kept walking around like, oh, I think I recognize that cafe from before. Okay, yeah, I know. I think I remember those awnings, and I think we just kept going in circles, and then we finally found our hotel. But I mean, it was a pretty fun way to experience the city. I just, this was before.
Did you buy the little stuffy while you were lost? Because that would be great. You're always like, oh, I was lost. Well, pit stop. Let's buy a stuffy. Yeah.
I did, and now my daughter's obsessed with the Eiffel Tower, and this is hers now, of course. But it always makes me think of that trip. And this was like pre-cell phone. Well, I guess some people had like cell phones, but there was no smartphone. There was no like Googling it or looking on your GPS. So I didn't speak French, and it was an interesting day. But that's my little memory.
That's cool. I love that one. Like wandering around Paris for 6 hours, and you got like every time you look at your stuff, you're like, yep, I remember that.
Yep.
Cool. That was a great one, Teresa. Thank you. All right, Chris, what's your next one?
All right, I broke with the theme of old a little bit, but only because this was such a cool thing that I got just recently. So cool that I don't even use it for its intended purpose. And then I know as long as I'm alive, 40 years from now, however many years from now, this will be sitting on like a shelf in my office or in my little man cave area. So without further ado, it's another drinkware item. It's a Yeti Tumbler. I'm going to try to get into Chris' secret. It says, thanks, Coach, Palisades Pirates, 2021-22. And then all the kids on the team, if you can see it,
that's
sign
awesome.
their name right on there. And it's a Yeti too. So they were not, they had no expense with this one. So this is from the basketball team that I coached this past winter. It was such a great group of kids. I've coached youth sports for about 8 years, all manner of different youth sports. And it's always been fun for the most, not always dealing with the parents, but dealing with the kids is almost always like a good time. But this group was like exceptionally good, not only for like their attitudes and how much fun they had, but how much like better they got. Like they exceeded their own expectations like so much, and like kind of got good. We ended up we went into the season hoping that we would like maybe win a couple games, maybe be competitive. We ended up making the playoffs. We made the semifinals. We lost by 1 point to the number 1 ranked team, who ultimately won the whole thing in the final right after us. So these kids played so above themselves. They had so much fun doing it. And like I had fun being part of it with them. And so they got together and they got me this thing. So obviously it has like huge sentimental value for me, and the fact that they put their little signatures etched on it. And so I will, like I say, I don't even drink out of this. I will keep this for as long as I'm alive, and it'll always remind me of like a nice season that I had with these kids and with my one middle son who was on the team and was one of the better players. So it was just a great time. So another one for the sentimental category.
Yeah, so it doesn't qualify for the 10-year mark, but we know you're gonna hang on to it for a while. So when we do this again in 10 years, maybe we're all in the metaverse.
I'll bring it back.
You'll have to bring a digital facsimile of that just to show off to all of us.
That sounds good.
Cool, love it. Great example.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine's like not a cherished possession, but it is old, and I think it proves just sort of the staying power of promotional products. So, all right, so I'm gonna see if people can see this. It might be a little dark. Let's see if I can put light on here. Here we go. So this is a ruler, and it's from State Representative Ann Dandro, and she was a state representative in the 1980s, 90s. And how did I come across this thing? Well, I was helping. It was like a few months ago. I was helping my dad empty out some stuff in the basement, and he has this old like workbench that belonged to his Uncle Ralph, and we go like to open it, empty some drawers, move things, and this roller pops out. I'm like, oh my god, look at this old promotional product. This is cool, and like that geeky nerdy way that we can only do as people who work in this industry. So I held on to it. Like I took it home. I took a picture for Twitter because of course that's the thing to do. And that I guess that would be the end of it. But it's been living on my desk ever since, right? And it's and like it'll probably come handy at some point. Maybe my kids even borrowed it because they draw and like they need a 6-inch ruler to be able to map their lines. So does it have great sentimental value? Not particularly, right? But it's just something that just found its way onto my messy desk, and it's just been hanging out. And like I'm not going to throw it away because I'm going to feel bad. But that I think it just shows like how promos just stick around, right? People, it is hard for people to throw away things, and they just end up working their way into your lives somehow.
And Dandra, I'm gonna look her up.
Yeah, so in the Connecticut State Representative.
Okay, all right.
And my favorite part, again, I don't know if you can see it. It says, and Dandra says, "Rule out drugs." That's my favorite part of it.
Oh, I like the thematic tie-in with the ruler. There you go for the win.
Yeah, you can always count on a good pun to carry your promo.
CJ, how did your dad come about having that in his workbench? Does he know? Did he have a story?
So I guess it belonged to his uncle, and like so my dad has a lot of his dad's like tools and stuff, and so just like anything, like it was just in a drawer, right? And it was like this workbench that my great uncle had that he probably gave to my grandfather. Then my dad took it, and
Wow.
so now it's in my possession, right? So I guess there is that little family connection, even though I doubt my great uncle was using this all the time. But
and CJ's dad's from Connecticut, so that's the tie-in, Sarah. Even though
okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
That
that's
yes.
yeah.
We had in our garage a bunch of matchbooks from like the 50s or 60s of Ohio, like Congress people, because of we used to live in my husband's grandparents' old house, and all the stuff that was in the garage moved with us to Pennsylvania, and then we moved again 2 years ago. So we were like clearing out like this old bureau full of like nuts and bolts, and then there are all these like vintage matchbooks of random candidates. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Not for nothing, by the way. Like I'm sure some of these old promo products, like political or like brand things, are probably actually worth like a decent bit of money if like people held on to it from like the 20s and 30s.
Yeah,
I agree.
40s. So
there's there's like museum displays and even museums dedicated to that kind, like the political swag and stuff like that. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, cool. So on to our last and final round. Well, let's switch the order out. Chris, you can go first.
All right. This one is definitely the most mundane, if you will, of my three, but it's I would say less like important in illustrating the point that we want to make about longevity. So it is a basic hoodie. Okay. So, and if you could see it, there's a company called Title Box. This is a hoodie that my wife has had for probably about 6 or 7 years. She hasn't worked for this company in about that long, but this continues to be like her favorite. If she's just having an informal day, she's got to go run a few errands or go to the store or do something like that. She wears this just because it's always chilly in Pennsylvania and it's so comfortable. So I don't want to be too negative. She left this company. We'll say she's not the biggest fan of the company that she used to work for, but she still wears the swag that they got her because it's just such a stinking comfortable sweatshirt, So because they invested and got her like a decent quality hoodie that fits her and everything, she continues to be a walking billboard for them years after she has stopped working for them. And even though she doesn't necessarily have the most positive feelings about them anymore. So
yeah, that's so funny because you remember a couple of years ago when Patagonia was saying they were not going to allow like logos because people move companies and they're not going to wear the stuff anymore. But you're saying the opposite is true. If it's something as good as like a Patagonia, jacket or something, people are going to still wear it, even if it's not the company they work for.
Yeah, like she just likes it because it's comfortable, and she wears it everywhere, even though she has no affiliation with that company anymore. It's just a comfortable hoodie that she likes. So they get a free ad out of her every time she goes out, you know. So that's my third. Not with the sentimentality of the others, but I think still really good at illustrating how quality can make a product last and usefulness.
Bottom line, you can be a bad company doing terrible things, but as long as you have great swag and merch,
Yeah, you're set.
you're in the clear, right?
No, I don't want to get sued. They're not a bad company doing terrible things. She just was done with them. But like it's all good.
Yeah, but I think a great example. Like I we all have things with like sponsor logos on. You may not agree with the sponsor, but hey, it's a nice shirt, right?
Yeah.
Wear it, or a hoodie in this case. Great example. Sarah.
So actually very similar to what Chris had. I have this sweatshirt is probably from, I don't know, 2002. It's probably 20 years old, but I used to go down. So it says CMBP, but it stands for Cape May Beach Patrol. And Cape May is in New Jersey, very bottom of New Jersey, as far as you can go in New Jersey. It's where I vacationed my whole life. It's where my whole family goes, and we have a house there. And I don't get down there as much as I used to, unfortunately. But when I was like a teenager, I'd go down for weeks at a time. And every year we would, like college, every year we'd get like a sweatshirt for that year. So this was my 2002 edition. And I can't tell you how much I love this sweatshirt. Like it is in such good shape. It still looks brand new. Shout out to who made it. Oh, Jerseys. It's a Jerseys new blend. No, not a pill on it. Like it is in perfect shape. The screen print is really smooth. Like you can't even feel it. It's like, it's always been like that. It's almost like
Did it always look like that, Sarah? Like it looks very vintage and faded. Did it always look like that?
This is how it's always looked. You can't even feel the screen print. It is like, it's awesome. I just like Chris's wife. I just throw this on whenever. Like it's good for everything. It fits me perfectly. I will have this sweatshirt forever until it's ripping and falling off me. But it brings back a lot of really good memories of the beach and the boardwalk and throwing this on like at night on the boardwalk, and just a lot of really fun memories. But I'm obsessed with this sweatshirt. It is my number one go-to sweatshirt.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Shore stops and beach shops, they're full of branded logo apparel and other things, and it's just treasure trove of promos. So that's a great example. Thank you, Sarah.
Yep.
All right, Teresa, let's see your final product.
This is the most sentimental one I have. So I saved it for last. And it's my little Ralph mug. It's probably, he's got to be almost 40 or maybe over 40. I'm not sure. And on the bottom, it says Sigma, the Tastemaker. I don't know what brand that is, but this is really special to me because this is the mug that my dad used to make hot cocoa for me when I was a little kid. Yeah, and I kept it, and now I make hot cocoa for my daughter in it. So.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, I love this little guy. I mean, he's actually really hard to clean because he's got all these weird like nooks and crannies. So I do it by hand, and it's kind of a pain, but I can never get rid of him. He's just too special.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I love the story. And I actually, my last one is sort of similar. It's actually not mine, but it's my wife's. But I had our Alpha alarm clock. So this is my my wife's when she was a kid. Her and her dad loved Alf. They would watch it together all the time. And so she had this alarm clock growing up. And she told me it wasn't super accurate. Like it might be within like the alarm might be within like 10 minutes of where you said. Right now there's no batteries in it, but it was in her parents' house for the longest time, and then after college when she came back home and then moved out, she gathered up a bunch of her things, including her clock, and then it's just been with her ever since, and it's in our house now. It sits on our bookcase. We don't use it as a clock, but it's just a nice memento. Reminds her of her childhood, and just like Teresa's, right? Just like all the positive feelings that come back when she sees this.
I'm gonna steal that. That thing's too.
Really cool.
Does it make noise? Does it talk? Does he talk?
Oh, you know what? I think so. It's been a long time, and so I'd have to put the batteries in and see what see what it says, but it probably does. So yeah. Cool. These are great examples. Is there, just to sort of put a bow on it, any themes or thoughts come to us just talking about these things?
Not more than what I think you guys have all what we've highlighted, just that, that memories and moments in time are associated with certain products, and they serve as keepsakes, and they also, because of that association you have, you continue to use them, so they continue to promote whatever that thing might be. In some cases, still relevant, like my that Shadfest glass I showed. They still have Shadfest every year. River Horse Brewery still a brewery, so anytime I'm drinking that's a promotion for them, and that sentimental association. And then also just the practical, if you give people things that are useful, and that are made well, that will last, like they'll continue to use them, and it'll continue to promote whatever brand is logoed on them. Those would be my reflections.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And sometimes it's things that are not really relevant anymore, like Alf, but
Yeah.
definitely evokes a certain moment in time.
Alf is always relevant.
That was a good show.
Yeah, I think, it's really a testament to products that are made well. And, I think our industry has, unfortunately, a reputation of kind of being stuff that promotes something quickly and then it's thrown away. But there's a case to be made for, promo that lasts. And I can't get over how good this sweatshirt looks. Shout out to Jersey's New Blend. Like it looks brand new, and I've had it for 20 some years. Like that's incredible. I mean, I just think that, it really behooves companies to, provide quality product. And when you provide a quality product, and like Chris, your Shadfest glass, I mean, the silk screen looks really good. Like sometimes it starts to rub off, and that's still there. Like shout out for, good quality product, good quality imprint. When you have those two together, plus you combine it with like a memorable time for someone, it's a win. Like it's gonna stick around for a while.
Yeah, I would add that, so like food gifts, for example, that's been a huge trend in recent years. And there's other items like that they're an experience, right? Like you consume the product and you're not keeping the food wrapper, right? You're not but you still remember who gave it to you. And so that, that works, right? That has powerful brand recognition. But as we showed today, all these products that aren't a consumable, they stick around, and because there's sort of a physical presence to it, it has that added connection. It's like, why do we take pictures when we go on vacation, right? Something to capture that memory. Well, these products do the same thing. When you see that product, it brings you back to a time and place. Even the ones that aren't tied to a specific experience, maybe you recall where you were at that point in your life. And so I think that's a huge value, and it shows like why these products matter, right? It's not just sort of like a commoditized piece of plastic. It's something that has value far beyond what the actual monetary value is, because they do become a part of your life, and that's why they have such longevity, as we talked about today. Cool. Well, thank you all. This is great examples, and I hope our viewers and listeners take away some thoughts and reflect about the items that are in their lives, and perhaps have great meaning to them. So again, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Chris. Thank you all for listening and watching, and have a great day.